Hi everybody, welcome back. This is Yosemite storyteller Brian Shore here with the last episode of Naming of Yosemite. And today we're lucky enough to film from beautiful Yosemite Valley. We're going to be joining our main characters, Mr. Bunnell and Major Savage, Chief Tenaya, and the rest of the group of the Mariposa Battalion on March 27th, 1851. If you recall, the Major was fed up waiting for the Ahwahnechee to come in and treat with him. So we're going to pursue them into their valley, the Ahwahnee. So everybody's going to get up nice and early, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Lafayette Bunnell is joining the cook, and they're starting to talk in the morning. He's going to have his nice hot tea to wake him up. And just then, Mr. Tunnehill, remember him from Texas? He's joining in the group. He's been snoring all night. It's kept Lafayette up. But what can you do? You know, big guy snores. Happens to a lot of people. Also, here comes Speedy Bob McKee. Remember him? He won the race yesterday. They're all getting ready for the day and kind of talking about the trip that's going to lie before them. They think that it's possible that they may be able to get to the valley and then grab the Ahwahnechee and come back in the same day. After all, Chief Tenaya, he's hiked out and met them in Wawona and then headed back to talk to his people. He arrived back 2 days ago. Was that 3 trips in 2 days? How hard and how far could it be to their stronghold? It seems pretty easy. So the men, they start saddling up the horses for the day as the cook packs up the pack train, and on they go to make their way towards the stronghold. And at first things go really well. Tunnehill's absolutely sure they just have too much stuff because they're just going to be there and back. It should only take a day. But as they get farther and farther into the trip, they start running into snow. Not a big surprise, as it has been snowing the last few days. And the snow gets deeper and deeper, and soon enough what they have to do is have the horses break trail. So the first rider's breaking trail through that snow, and then it starts to get tired. So off to the side he goes. And then the next rider is in the front as the last rider falls into the rear. And that's what happens when it's Lafayette Bunnell's turn. He comes up to the front. He's sure he's going to be able to at least go farther than the last guy, but soon enough his horse is getting tired, and he resignatingly pulls over to the side. Next thing you know is he's in the back. He was the first and now he's last, and it makes him think about that. The first shall be last and the last shall be first. It's a little mantra that goes through his head. The first shall be last and the last shall be first. And he's riding along and he's making his way closer to the front, ready for his change, when all of a sudden there's a shout for halt. It seems to be Major Savage calling a halt. And then behind him, Captain Boland shouts down the line, halt, and everybody stops. What could be going on up there? Sounds like Chief Tenaya and the Major are having words again. When suddenly, Bunnell notices a long line of walkers. It's the Ahwahnechee coming through, carrying all their stuff. They had indeed been coming into the Ahwahnee area to sign treaties, but, into the Wawona area to sign treaties with the Major. But they're still making their way through the snow. The women are carrying most of the gear in these huge baskets. They're wrapped in, some of them in furs with moccasins, some wearing leggings. It's pretty chilly out up in the high country. And then some of the other people are simply wearing breechcloths, and some don't even have moccasins on their feet. They're tall, proud people, and dark skin, dark hair, deep dark eyes that Bunnell focuses on. What is he seeing in the eyes of those people at that time? Is he seeing fear, anger, betrayal, confusion? All characteristics, all emotions that would seem natural at that point. Well, they keep filing by, and Bunnell counts 72 of them. 72 natives heading back in the direction they came. They seem pretty happy that the trail is now packed by these animals, and believe me, it's packed down by then. Up front, he can still hear the Major and Chief Tenaya having some heated words, and soon enough, the Major just doesn't even listen anymore. Forward march, he yells, and off they go, heading on towards the stronghold of the Ahwahnechee. They keep going on, and who do they pass? Well, they pass the chief. The chief apparently not going with them. He's been sent back to go down to Wawona with his people. They have a new guide. One of the young warriors in the group are going to take him down into the valley. And on they go. But before they know it, seems like no time at all, suddenly there's an amazing view. Well, that opens up before them. And of course, you're familiar with this view here, but for them, they had no idea what they were getting into. Just those words from Chief Tenaya about how dangerous the valley was, how their horses wouldn't be able to make it back out if they got down in there. how it was possible for the enemy to drop rocks on their heads and for them maybe to fall down into an eternity or down into hell itself. It was a pretty dangerous place, but now Bunnell has seen it. He's seen that amazing dome way in the distance. It looks like it's cut in half. Farther up on the right, a waterfall over 500 feet high. And on the other side of the valley to the left, it's this rock that just goes all the way up into the heavens through the clouds. The clouds are just clinging to the edge of it. It's looking even more magnificent to Mr. Bunnell. He can't believe the view he's seen. He looks at the other miners, but they're already heading down to the valley. They don't seem to appreciate what's in front of them. And one of the miners even goes on to say one time that if he had known that the valley was going to be famous, well, he would have stopped and looked. Well, Bunnell's caught up in his reverie, and it's up to the major to snap him out of it. And he says, Bunnell, hey, you got to get going down to the valley, otherwise you'll be left behind here. So off they go. They start following the other miners steep down into Yosemite Valley, the Valley of the Wanichi. By the time they get down, the cook has already started to set up the campfires and to make food, and fires are being set for the battalion itself. Other people are exploring the river. Tunnehill, as a matter of fact, believes that maybe the natives have a trail on the other side, and even though their guide says it's too dangerous in March to cross the river, and you folks who have been here in March, you know that's absolutely true, well, Tunnehill doesn't believe a word out of that guy's mouth, so he tries to make it across with his mule. Lafayette Bunnell finds him later at the campfire. He is soaking wet, and apparently he barely saved his mule from drowning. Well, by that time, food's ready, and Bunnell, he grabs a plate of food just like everybody else, and he finds a spot down by the campfire in this beautiful meadow right here, Bridalveil Meadow. And the sun starts to set, and the people eat their food. It's been a long day, and they start to talk around that campfire. And one of the discussions that comes up is, what are they going to name this beautiful valley that they just discovered? Well, a lot of names come up. Some of the men, they suggest biblical names or names like Paradise Valley, because it does seem appropriate for this place. Lots of names come up. They actually look to Mr. Bunnell for a couple of suggestions from him, but Bunnell's having a hard time focusing. And honestly, why not? Because it's been a huge day. They woke up early. They went over 25 miles just to get into Yosemite. A lot of events took place, and Bunnell's pretty exhausted. He can't really focus on what the other guys are asking him. He's pretty tired. Oh, but he gets an idea. He looks through that fire, and in the distance he can see the cook. The cook is starting to clean up the kitchen area. But if he could just get a cup of tea, that might wake him up. He suddenly stands up, and everybody goes quiet, looking at Bunnell, who's suddenly standing up. And Bunnell's a little disoriented as he looks through that fire. All the waves distorting all the men's features. It's almost surreal. Maybe it's the fatigue and the food in his belly that's putting him off. But he has an idea that something's going to happen. As a matter of fact, the walls seem to lean in at that moment. Something special is about to happen. Bunnell looks up through that flame and he makes contact with that cook. Their eyes meet, and he says, "Yo, send me tea!" All the men are startled, and they look at Bunnell. "Yo, send me tea." The discussion begins. That's a great name, and soon enough they put it up to a vote. And everybody, just about everybody, says, that's a great name, and they all vote, well, almost everybody. Mr. Tunnehill, he's just standing back, his mouth wide open. He can't believe it. Yo, send me tea? You know the look. Maybe some of you have it on your face right now. Yo, send me tea? Really? Well, that's the way I heard it. So, that's how it happens in history. Mr. Lafayette Bunnell, on March 27th of 1851, in possibly a freak accident, names this beautiful valley Yosemite. And that's how it happens in our mostly true story. Here with Yosemite storyteller Brian Shore. Don't miss me for the next great story we're going to have here. And you guys enjoy your time in Yosemite if you make it here.